Welcome to this video where I'm going to talk about ITIL4 Service Desk Practice. The idea behind this video is that you can use it as an audiobook. I hope I managed in creating this experience. Main important item for the ITIL4 Practice Manager certification is to check the syllabus and to study the actual practices. If you have listened or watched to this video, will you be able to pass the exam? No, you will not. It will be in addition to the studying you are already doing. Hi, I'm Wieger, ITIL Master and Ambassador. The content of this video. A lot of it will be me reading from the Service Desk Practice. I will mention the sections where applicable in the topics I'm going to talk about. The video is to follow the syllabus as much as possible. What I'm going to cover in this video. The key terms you need to know, the purpose of the Service Desk Practice, the practice success factors and the related metrics, Service Desk Practice and the 4 dimensions, capability assessment and development, and last but least, recommendations for the practice success. Now, let us start with the key terms. Omnichannel communications. Unified communications across multiple channels based on sharing information across the channels and providing a seamless communication experience. Service empathy. The ability to recognize, understand, predict and project the interest, needs, intentions and experience of another party in order to establish, maintain and improve the service relationship. Moment of truth. Any episode in which the customer or user encounters an aspect of the organization and gets an impression of the quality of its services. It is the basis for setting and fulfilling client expectations and ultimately achieving client satisfaction. The key terms of the Service Desk Practice are described in section 2.2. Part of the key terms, but not something I can cover in a single box and reading out a single line. The characteristics of the communication channels. When communicating to users, we need to keep in mind to use the correct, convenient channel at the right time for the communication between the service desk and the users to provide a very nice experience for the user. Which means the channels need to be accessible for the user, having the correct language format to service any user who might be impaired. When a communication channel has been selected, the user also needs to be able to trust the channel. It needs to be assured the channel is genuine and secure and complies with the applicable regulations. Furthermore, the channel needs to be available when needed, familiar and usable for the user. Unfamiliar channels might not give the intended user experience. The interface should be clear, intuitive, helpful and functional for the user. To enhance the user experience, it is important that the channels the service provider is using are integrated to create a seamless experience for the user, the so-called omnichannels. I will talk more about that in a minute. Whenever possible, the used channel should be pre-populated forms as much as possible, the so-called contextual intelligence. The communication characteristics I just talked about are comparable towards the characteristics used to assess and manage the quality of information, such as availability, reliability, accessibility, timelines, accuracy, and relevance. It is important to note that the information quality depends on the communication quality. Communication is not easy. We do it every day, choosing the right channels influenced by a lot of factors. For instance, the model of the relationship. Is it internal, external, out of the box or a bespoke model, corporate or private, and so on. The type of relationship between the service provider and the service consumer. From the foundation, we learned we have 3 different types of relationship. Basic, cooperative, or is it a partnership? What is the server user profile? The language, age, location, culture, social media activity, technology use, patterns and preferences. Like the service user profile, what is the service provider's profile? Their location, organizational structure, size of the company and their supported portfolio. These factors are influenced further by the external pestle factors, being the political, economical, social, technical, legal and environmental factors. The more convenient the service becomes, the better the user experience will be. More communication channels and their characteristics you can find back in section 2.4 of the service desk practice. The purpose. The purpose of the service desk practice is to capture demand for incident resolution and service requests. It should also be the entry point and single point of contact for the service provider for all users. What is sometimes a bit confusing is the term service desk. A term can be used for the practice, the actual team, the information system, the process, or a third party. As part of this video, I mention clearly when I mean the practice or something else, for instance, the service desk team. Multi-channel versus omni-channel communications. What we still see a lot is that service providers use a variation of channels. However, these are often not integrated, a multi-channel solution. For example, after a web chat with a service desk agent which is being followed up with a phone call will mean all the information shared via the web chat will have to be done all over again. There is no integration. This is where omni-channel plays a key role. All the channels are integrated. No matter where a customer journey has started, it can continue with another channel at the point where it stopped at a previous different channel and creates seamless communication experience. The practice success factors for the service desk practice. What is a practice success factor? A practice success factor is a complex functional component of a practice that is required for it to fulfill its purpose. For the service desk practice, we have the following practice success factors. Enabling and continual improving effective, efficient and convenient communication between the service provider and its users. Enabling the effective integration of user communication into the value streams. Now more on the metrics of the success factors for the practice. The effectiveness and performance of the ITIL practices should be assessed within the context of the value streams to which the practice contributes. I will talk more about value streams a bit later in this video. But keep in mind what I just said. The service desk practice contributes to value streams. Now the metrics for enabling and continual improving effective, efficient and convenient communications between the service provider and its user. Quality of the information received via the service desk channels measured against agreed information quality criteria. Convenience of the service desk communication channels and interfaces measured against agreed convenience criteria. Satisfaction of the key communication stakeholders with the quality of the information and the convenience of the service desk communication channels. Now the metrics for the second practice success factor, enabling the effective integration of user communication into value streams. Quality of the information received via the service desk channels measured against the requirements of the service value streams. How good is the information captured by the service desk about incidents, requests and other queries? The satisfaction of key stakeholders using the information communicated via the service desk channels. Number and percentage of the incorrect triage of user queries. More on the metrics you can find back in section 2.5 from the service desk practice. Now more about its dimensions, starting with value streams and processes. First, the definitions of a process. A set of interrelated or interacting activities that transform inputs into outputs. A process takes one or more defined inputs and turns them into defined outputs. Processes define the sequence of actions and their dependencies. The service desk practice has three processes: user query handling, communicating to users, and service desk optimization. In the next slides I'm going to talk about the processes in more detail, but still very limited. This all comes from the service desk practice, section 3. As mentioned in previous slide, a process transforms inputs into outputs. For the process user query handling, we perform following activities: the acknowledgement and recording of the user queries, the validation of the user query, And as last activity, triaging the user query, initiate the appropriate activities. These activities are enabled or triggered by the following inputs. User queries, triage guidelines and procedures, service management records, for example, incident records, change records, problem records, and so on, service configuration information, IT asset information, and other relevant information. These activities create the following outputs: recorded and categorized user queries, initiated processing of the categorized user queries. For the second process, communicating to users, we have these inputs: requirements for the user communication, information to communicate, records of previous communications, service management records, for example, incident records, change records, problem records, and so on, service configuration information, IT asset information, and other relevant information. With these inputs, we have the following activities: identifying and confirming the target audience, identifying and confirming communication channels, information packaging, information sending, gathering and processing received confirmations and the feedback. These activities create the following outputs: communicated messages and communication reports. For the third process, service desk optimization, we have these inputs: service desk performance reports, satisfaction surveys and other feedback, technology opportunities, incident and service request reports. With these inputs, we have the following three activities in the service desk optimization process: service desk review, service desk improvement initiation, and service desk improvement communication. This will give us the following outputs: improvement initiatives, service desk improvement communication. Value streams are very important. They turn in the end a demand or opportunity into value for the stakeholders. Value streams are supported by the various practices to create the value. Value streams are, like everything in the service value system, subject to continuous improvement. To improve value streams, we do value stream mapping. We execute the following steps as part of value stream mapping. The first step: identify the scope of the value stream analysis. It can be mapped to a particular product or service or applied to most or all of them. Second step: define the purpose of the value stream from the business standpoint. Do not just look at it from a practice point of view, but from the business. What are the stakeholder needs and wants? Step 3: do the service value stream walk. Consider the lean technique of Gemba walk. Identify the workflow steps. Collect the data as you walk. Evaluate the workflow steps. Map the activities and the information flows. Create and review the timeline and resource level. Map out process times and lead times for resources and workflow through the workflow steps. Step 4: reflect on the value stream map. Identify factors that have not been entirely apparent at first. The first information collected is used at this step to find the waste, not only for the service practice. Other steps from other practices might be involved in creating waste. Create the to-be value stream map. This informs and drives improvement. The value stream should be considered holistically to ensure end-to-end efficiency and value creation, not just local improvements. Using the to-be value stream map. This is also the point where we plan improvements, for instance, updating templates as part of the review. Refer to Continual Improvement Practice Guide for a practical improvement model. Next, the organization and people dimension, the roles in the service desk practice. The structure and naming of each role might differ from organization to organization, so any roles defined in ITIL should not be treated as mandatory or even recommended. Keep in mind, roles are not job titles. One person can take on multiple roles, and one role can be assigned to multiple people. ITIL makes use of the LACMT model. Leader. decision-making, delegating, overseeing other activities, providing incentives and motivation, and evaluating outcomes. Administrator, assigning and prioritizing tasks, record-keeping, ongoing reporting, and initiating basic improvements. Coordinator, communicator, coordinating multiple parties, maintaining communication between stakeholders, and running awareness campaigns. Methods and techniques expert, designing and implementing work techniques, documenting procedures, consulting on processes, work analysis, and continual improvement. Technical expert, providing technical subject matter expertise and conducting expertise-based assignment. The position of the letter in the profile indication indicates the importance of the capability for that role. For example, the incident manager has the CMAT profile, coordinator, methods and techniques expert, administrator, technical expert, which means coordination is the most important skill. Next required but less important skill would be the methods and techniques expert skill, and so on. The common roles of the service desk practice are service desk manager and service desk agent. The service desk manager is responsible for planning, coordination, and improvement of the service desk teams within the service provider's organization. This involves understanding the skills and competencies required to fulfill the roles of the team in the service desk and other management practices. Understanding, planning, and ensuring the capacity and performance of the service desk team. Onboarding, training, development, and promotion of the service desk agents. Creating and maintaining a healthy work culture in the service desk team. Ensuring the workload balance between the service desk activities and involvement of the team in other management practices. Cooperation with other managers of the service provider in the service value streams. Review and continual improvement of the service desk practice. The service desk agent, also often called the service desk analyst, is a member of the service desk team. The service desk agents are responsible for act as a relationship agents, ensuring a great user experience and high user satisfaction. Participate in the activities of other practices as required in the context of the service value streams. Continually develop relevant skills and competencies. Support the service desk manager in achieving the service desk team's objectives. Cooperate with other team members in the context of the service value streams. Automation solutions for the service desk practice. In general, these applications are used across the organization, not just used by the service desk practice. Workflow management collaboration tools, including user query management tools. Management of user query records, communication between the service desk agents and users, integration of the practices into service value streams, and communication between specialist teams in service value streams. Work planning and prioritization tools, planning and tracking the improvement initiatives. Analysis and reporting tools, practice measurement and reporting. Survey tools, collecting user feedback for service improvement and collecting of feedback for practice improvement. Recommendations for automation of the service desk practice. Designed for the value streams, service desk as point of contact provides interfaces to various value streams. It has little value when implementing and automated in isolation, even if at the beginning the integration is limited to handling of incident and service requests. Make sure that wider integration with other practices is supported by the automation system. Make it omnichannel. Ensure that the toolset supports seamless integration with multiple communication channels, including social media, email, phone, in-app chats, and corporate collaboration systems and more. Ensure integration with knowledge management systems. Service desk team is very likely to be involved in multiple value streams, providing consultations and resolutions to the user. Although these activities are out of scope of the service desk practice, they usually involve both service desk team and the service desk information system. Pay attention to measurement and reporting from the beginning. Ensure visibility of the service desk management workload, status of the queries, and satisfaction of the users. Make sure that the current status information is available on a dashboard and analytical reports can be generated and presented. Ensure that self-help capabilities of the system are available and convenient. User-facing interfaces should be clear, easy to use, informative and customizable to meet the needs of the organizations and specific of different queries. Ensure usability for all. Service provider-facing interfaces should also be friendly, convenient and efficient. Services agents spend all or most of their work time in this system, so it should be convenient to work with. Leverage machine learning capabilities. They can significantly optimize both self-help experience for users and the query categorization activity for the service desk agents. Capability assessment and development of the practices. ITIL4 defines 5 levels in the capability assessment or maturity. An internal assessment can be done to validate how the practices are performing, highlighting areas for improvement. Not every practice has to be at the maximum level 5. This would be very resource intensive and costly for the organization. We have the following levels, from the lower to the higher levels. Level 1. The practice is not well organized. Its performance is initial or intuitive. It may occasionally or partially achieve its purpose through an incomplete set of activities. Level 2. The practice systematically achieves its purpose through a basic set of activities supported by specialized resources. Level 3. The practice is well defined and achieves its purpose in an organized way, using dedicated resources and relying on inputs from other practices that are integrated into a service management system. Level 4. The practice achieves its purpose in a highly organized way, and its performance is continually measured and assessed in the context of the service management system. Level 5. The practice is continually improving organizational capabilities associated with its purpose. In the next slide, I'm going to mention all the criteria which are defined for the practice success factors. Each criterion is linked to one of the 4 dimensions. I left the maturity level out of the slides, but you can find these back in the practice book, section 7.1. First practice success factor of the service desk practice, enabling the effective integration of user communications into value streams. I will not mention the criteria in the order on the slide, but group them by the dimensions starting with value streams and processes. User communications in organization value streams are performed via the service desk interfaces. Service desk processes and templates are adjusted to meet the needs in the context of the value streams. Service desk automation is adjusted to meet the needs and context of the value streams. Communication with users are managed in a consistent manner across all value streams. The effectiveness, efficiency and user satisfaction with the points of contact are measured and assessed in the context of value streams. The integration of user communications into value streams is regularly reviewed and continually improved. For the second dimension, organization and people, we have 1 criterion. Service desk competencies or staffing are adjusted to meet the needs and context of the value streams. Partners and supplier criterion. Service desk use of third-party services is adjusted to meet the needs and context of the value stream. And the last criterion for the information and technology dimension, information gathered and used during communications with users is managed in a consistent manner across all value streams. Second practice success factor, enabling and continually improving effective, efficient and convenient communications between the service desk provider and its users and assessment criteria. Again, starting with the value streams and process dimension. Channels of communication are established for users to contact the service provider. Users are aware of the interfaces and procedures for contacting the service provider. Communication and other technology solutions for processing user queries are identified and implemented. Policies, templates, and procedures for the management of user queries are agreed and communicated to the relevant members of the organization. The effectiveness, efficiency, and user satisfaction with the points of contact are regularly measured and assessed. The effectiveness, efficiency, and user satisfaction with the points of contact are regularly reviewed and continually improved. The criterion for organization and people dimension. The competencies required to process and manage the user queries are identified and qualified human resources are available. And one criterion for the partner and supplier dimension. Third-party services required to process user queries are identified and available. For the information and technology dimension, we have two criterions. Contact records and other service desk information are tracked and monitored in an integral information system. Multiple interfaces for contacting the service provider are unified in an omni-channel solution. If you listen to me talking about the dimensions and the different assessment criteria, does it make sense to you? Can you link the criterions easy, one by one, back to the dimensions? On the last slide, some recommendations for the success of the service desk practice. Start by establishing a clear communication channel for the users. Do not wait for all possible procedures to be defined or all possible tools to be implemented. It is more important for the users that you have a friendly interface and no queries are lost. Then some procedures may be imperfect or some questions may not have immediate answers. Build a team of service desk agents that understand the user's business. Make a tour to the business workplace as part of the service desk agent induction program. Consider training them in the supported business roles. Ensure that the agents understand what the users tell them. Implement new channels and tools gradually, based on the needs and preferences of the users, not only on technology opportunities. Listen to the user's feedback and improve the channels accordingly. Overcomplicated or unfamiliar interfaces and channels result in low adoption and affect user experience and dissatisfaction. Automate repeated and standardized operations. Do not rush to replace human agents with chatbots and other automation. Consider machine learning only when you have sufficient and high-quality data for the learning. Take the user expectations and habits into account. Measurement and reporting. Set objectives and metrics for service desk in the context of the service value streams and of the service consumer's business. Do not focus purely on the service desk performance metrics. Understand and support its role in the service provider and the service consumer organization. We reached the end of this video and hopefully a good audiobook. I hope this was useful for you and is helping you on your ITIL4 journey. If you've already done some of the studying, you will know I did not cover everything. I at least did not cover the subsections of section 2.4. Thank you for watching or listening to this video.